Hello.
Hello. So exciting. Another week, another bulletin. Welcome to the Church Bulletin Podcast. I'm Tim.
I'm Sara. I'm back. I know I took a couple weeks off, but hello.
Someone was like, why wasn't Sara on the podcast? And I was like, sometimes we'll be like, oh, they were away or they were doing this, but I was like, she didn't feel like doing it.
Truth. Sorry, guys. I read the bulletin and I'm like, nothing's exciting enough for me to talk about. Granted, the bulletin's
This one
always
is so exciting.
But there's a lot of stuff, and it has to do with mothers, and I am a mother, so
yeah,
I felt the need to come in here,
You're kind of the only one.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Shocking when you work with all guys.
Anyway, so, weird bulletin cover. I picked it. It was on our Share Faith platform that we, subscribe to and everything. And it was like, everything is the ascension, because tomorrow, we're filming this on a Wednesday, the 8th. So tomorrow for us right now is Ascension Thursday. But throughout the country, many other dioceses celebrate it on Sunday. So it's very confusing.
Very confusing. And just an FYI, before we even get there, tomorrow masses are at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5:30 p.m.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this after the fact and you wanted to know that information, sorry, but
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's when you come to Ascension Thursday.
Absolutely. So, but it's kind of all in themed with Jesus ascending. So this is a mountain with Jesus, and there's I think that's the moon. I don't know, but it looked kind of neat. So there it is. You can pray with it and find deep spiritual meaning in the bulletin cover.
However you want to.
I mean, I'm always kind of blown away with what people come up with. Like some people will just randomly come back, oh, I love the bulletin cover. It means this. And I'm like, did not cross my mind when it was chosen. But
so actually the
Holy Spirit works.
Yeah, the children's bulletin had it in their bulletin last week because that's why I asked about it numerous times.
Yeah.
Personally, so that way I wouldn't put it in the wrong bulletin. So
absolutely.
The kids got a little picture of Jesus with a little description underneath of Ascension Jesus. So
with the Great Commission, so it's perfect. So I guess a new thing on the usual contact information. If you haven't noticed yet, our good friend Nick is no longer with us. He's awesome, and he's alive and well.
Yes.
But he is working part-time elsewhere at a different parish, and also doing some stuff on his own, different things. So he decided that it was time to
back to his calling of contracting and carpentry and stuff like that. So if you need help that way, you can
find Nick.
Look up a Nick.
Absolutely, look up a Nick. He's awesome. So he's not on page 1 anymore here. But so I guess I have to be the parish support minister again.
Yes, as you walk around the church.
As I walk around the church, I have to make that for this week. Be sure to tune in for that, because we had some people who were kind of upset by the last one. I talked about forgiveness, and apparently it ruffled some feathers. So we're going to talk about it in the next walk around the church. So be sure to check that out.
And Dr. Jordan Peterson talked about it last night, too. A couple of us went down to see him talk. And if you've never heard Dr. Jordan Peterson, it's awesome. But he also talked about some forgiveness and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's not an easy topic. Pain is real. People hurt people. That's absolutely true.
Hurt people as Celebrate Recovery tells us.
That's true. So Celebrate Recovery on Wednesday. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so if you were one of the people that had questions after the last walk around the church, be sure to tune in, because I'll deal with it in the next one. So anyway, you can check that out. That's on our social media. We have lots of stuff. We got memes from Jesse. He posts a lot of good information, but also some funny stuff. And good reflective stuff. I do walk around the church. We got other things on there too. So be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
And the in-house Catholic Chihuahua sometimes makes an appearance.
He's lovely.
He's lovely.
Good old Levi.
He's protecting the office right now.
Yeah, another thing though, also on the first spread, on the second page, now Father brought back the stewardship moments. Over the next few weeks, we'll have a little scripture reflection here, but also in the context of stewardship. So I always get a lot out of these. I love the connection, the reflection. So be sure to check that out. Thank you all for your support financially. The collection, awesome. And be sure to be praying for the people whose mass intentions there are. I don't know what sentence that was. It was not a good one.
It was close.
And then, of course, in the month of May, Pope Francis has asked us to pray that religious men and women and seminarians grow in their own vocations, and so on and so forth. So you can read that. Now, on to the good stuff. Not that wasn't good.
Dun, dun, dun.
But we have our Easter family reflections. And do you know the date of your baptism?
Absolutely not. I know
exactly, right?
I have found a picture because my real godmother couldn't be there that day. And so my aunt, who just passed away in January, was the proxy that day. So I found a picture, and it's very interesting. Neither of my godparents are longer Catholic. But yeah, I know, right? Something that happens in life. At the time they were. So yeah, it's fun to find that picture. I could not tell you when it was dated, though.
I believe mine, it's either the 1st or the 2nd. I believe I'm going to go with September 2nd is the date of mine. I asked my mom because I ask everybody in the bulletin, families who want to do the little reflection here, what is the date of your baptism? And plan to celebrate it as a spiritual birthday. Maybe try and get to mass or something on the date of your baptism, if you know it. So, but then I thought as I was getting ready for the podcast, I was like, hey, Mom, when's my baptism? Do you remember?
So, which actually is really funny, though, because I was baptized at Sacred Heart before moving for my Eucharist to another church and then back to Sacred Heart for my confirmation. So I rounded out my sacraments of initiation
there you go.
at the Heart. So
there you go. Yeah. Very good. So so check that out. It's something I think that we often don't talk about every once in a while, just so one of the things in here is if you're a kid and your parents obviously had you baptized as an infant, there's always a good story from a baptism.
And I couldn't even
there's one I just saw circulating social media, a funny video of the priest holding his hand out over the child and the high five.
That's fun.
I'm like, yes.
And I'm such a bad mom, I couldn't even begin to tell you my children's baptism.
Well, you know what? There's no time like the present. You're not a bad mom.
But I know where they were baptized, so that's the easy part.
That's the key, because then you can call the parish and be like, hey. So yeah, anyway, it's just something to think about. And then we have a ton of saint memorials this upcoming week. But so the one I encourage everyone to look up, you can look at all of them in the Mass intentions, but one I encourage is Saint Matthias, because he was there the entire time that Jesus was walking around doing stuff. St. Peter says that St. Matthias, or the person who's going to fill Judas Iscariot's role, has to have been with them since the baptism of Jesus and when Jesus began his ministry. And it says that they picked two guys, a guy named Barsabbas or Justus, and then Matthias, and then they cast lots, which I don't think that's how they pick bishops anymore, but at the time it seemed to work out, and it falls on Matthias, and he becomes the 12th apostle. But it's interesting to think he was there the whole time.
The whole time.
All the stories that we know about Jesus and the disciples, Matthias was there, just unnamed until later. It's just kind of neat. So I take it as sometimes maybe you're not the front and center person. Maybe you're not the priest giving the homily, or maybe you're not the person giving the talk, or maybe you're not the person that everybody thinks of when they think of an event. But if you're present and you're working, you're like St. Matthias. You're there. And what a blessing to be there. So anyway,
one of the other feasts next week on Monday, the 12th, is the Feast of Our Lady of Fatima.
Ooh,
and
yes.
I got to be so lucky to go last year to Fatima while I was at World Youth Day, and to be in that area where she appeared, and all the really cool stuff that's out there. A couple people if you remember Jen, who used to work here with us, her and her family walked to the children's house. That's still there. They have a little map that you can go. They had a great time. They told, great story on the way as we came back together for the bus ride. So, but a really, really cool place. We had mass there in the big, huge square, which is actually bigger than the square in Rome or Vatican or
St. Peter's
Square. Yeah, the square at Fatima is bigger.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was really
so
cool.
many neat tidbits. You can always learn something. So
yeah, and mass was said in multiple languages. That's just, it's so fascinating. Mass is the same all over wherever you go. But
yeah,
right?
No, it's true. It's if you've never gotten to go to mass in another country, it's almost worth traveling there just for the experience, because it's so weird to be like, oh yeah, my mass every week. I go to mass. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And then you walk into another country and they're in a different language doing exactly what you do every Sunday. Like I remember in
It's so
Australia when I got to go there walking in, and then, I mean, it was the same when I went to Italy, but like in Australia speaking in English, you know, it was just so weird because it was literally like, I mean, obviously the priest talked funny, you know, with the Aussie slang, the Lord be with you, you know, it's like, oh, that's so exciting.
So much fun.
It made it more fun, but still being like, this could literally be in my hometown. Like, it crazy. Anyway.
It's the 13th, not the 12th either. I can't tell dates.
Either way, whatever.
Next
week, check it out. But yeah, be sure to be praying the rosary. No one loved Mary more than Jesus, so you don't have to worry about being too devotional. You can't love Mary more than him. So be sure to love the Blessed Mother. We need her prayers and her help in following Jesus. I think a title of Mary that I love, my favorite one, is Premier Disciple.
Ooh.
Like that's she was the premier and the best. I mean, just man, I'm smacking my microphone. I'm so excited. Speaking of the Blessed Mother.
Well, so let's starting now. But the upcoming events next week starts with right after Mother's Day. The mothers can get together on Monday and celebrate ourselves even more. Yay!
Yes, as you should.
Which is always fun in the Founders Room from 6 to 8. So join us on the 13th. All moms are welcome, and we love having you. So.
Absolutely. So come to that. Wednesday is the usual madness, and celebrate recovery at the end of the day. So important. Just so shout out to everybody who does come to celebrate recovery. It's so beautiful. Your witness and your presence for each other there every single week. Fantastic.
And just thanks for if you have talked about it, and let's just say people aren't ready to come and check it out, just keep talking about Celebrate Recovery. You know, you never know the person that really does need it. Just needs that safe place just to go, maybe not even to share their story, but to sit and listen to somebody else's.
Absolutely.
And praise and worship with Tim, because Tim does an excellent job. And we appreciate, you know, that couple of minutes that he gives us in the beginning, because that's where his talent and treasure is. So
yeah, well, and I noticed a bunch of Celebrate Recovery attendees this past weekend at Mass, because my family was unable to come. We had some sickness in the house, so I was here though, working, and I saw a bunch of people that I recognized from Celebrate Recovery. So I'm very excited, because I think that we talked about this last week on the podcast, Father and I, a little bit about this kind of, I think, unwarranted stigma, like that Celebrate Recovery is for people who are struggling with substance abuse, you know, or, you know, and it is, not saying it's not, but like that's all it is. Like it's like an AA, and it's not. You know, there are so many people who are there for just a myriad of reasons, and it's really what church is meant to be. You know, I forget what saint said it, but the church is not a museum for saints. It is a hospital for sinners. And Celebrate Recovery is a great place to sort of highlight that, in the sense that when you walk into Celebrate Recovery, everyone there has something, either that they're celebrating the recovery from, or they're getting through and will celebrate the recovery from later, whatever. But yeah, so check it out. And I also want to shout out, just challenge the guys. We just had the 12. We are going to continue it through the summer. A lot of everyone was like, please don't stop. So we're going to keep going. So fellas, check out the 12 on the schedule. I'll be putting it out shortly. But also, gentlemen, Celebrate Recovery. If you have ever thought about going and decided not to go, change your mind and go. Like it really is a good thing, and we really need to build up the guy side of the community.
And again, if you're not ready to talk, or you just feel like after a testimony, you just say you want to, just say you're like, okay, I've had enough tonight. Like this is where I can be. Then after the testimony, then, you know, just, you know, say your goodbye, and we understand. Like everybody's in a different place on these journeys of faith, and wherever you are in your life. There's no pressure, and that's what's great about it. So Celebrate Recovery on Wednesday night, and then the next page has much more detailed information about Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week, because it's going to be a whole thing. But quickly before we turn the page, the school still has a few spots for their preschool classrooms. So if you're interested in that, please call the school. The number is in the bulletin. So we're going to be having this 40 hours for Pentecost. It's not a lie.
because it does span 40 hours. But just so that everyone is aware, it is not 40 hours long. It's an hour long mass talk kind of a situation on Thursday and then on Friday we have adoration, confessions available, and then into the volunteer dinner. So if you are a volunteer, or you'd like to become a volunteer, or you've been a volunteer, or you're from St. Andrews or St. Stephen's and you're a volunteer and you want to come on over, whatever. Just as a thank you to volunteers, we're doing this dinner. So please RSVP to Jesse for that. But that'll be right after the Friday thing. And then on Saturday, we'll have our usual vigil mass on Saturday, but it's going to be the Vigil of Pentecost, which has a little bit extra meat on it. It's not as long as the Easter Vigil, like Father explained last week. You can go watch that episode. He explained it in more detail, but it really is neat. I'm very excited about it. So, and then we'll have a dinner for everybody, kind of a lighter dinner, I've been told, but who knows if it'll actually be a lighter dinner. I feel like light dinners around here are like normal dinners for people. So shout out to Jesse, who always cooks. And I think last week I said Jesse's favorite Bible verse has to be the end of the feeding of the 5,000 when it says there were 12 wicker baskets left over. Like that guy always has more than enough food to go around. He's such a blessing. So he'll be cooking. So be sure to check that out. Last week, Father talked a lot about the merging between St. Andrews and St. Jude's in the bulletin letter. Beautiful letter. I encourage you to go read it. But this week, he wants to deal in another letter a little bit more with St. Stephen and how that partnership is going to work. So the letter's in the bulletin. Please read it. And if you have questions or anything like that, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Anything else with that? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't even think I've read the letter yet, so
All right.
I'll get right on that.
Yeah, there we go. And then the next basically 2.5 pages, Mother's Day flowers, dedications in memory of and in honor of. And I don't think we made any mistakes. Knock on wood.
If not, just contact Sarah.
Let us know.
Figure it out.
Yep, we will.
We'll make sure we correct our mistakes. But let's just
Absolutely.
goes out. Just keep in your prayers,
Yes.
through Mother's Day and stuff like that. Anybody who is a mother who's struggling, somebody who wants to become a mother and is struggling in that area. The mothers that are now grandmothers or great grandmothers, in all walks of life. If you've lost your mother. Just all the different reasons, for mothers and motherhood and stuff that way.
Absolutely.
Know that we're all praying for you from here in the office, and that we want to pray for each other and hold each other up during this lovely month of May, a month of Mary, and to honor moms this month.
Absolutely. It's a very exciting thing, and it's really, I think what's really cool for me, because I'm not from Pennsylvania, and I've only been in Erie for about 10 years now, but I've only been at St. Jude's. We're coming on like a year and a half, and what's really neat for me is just as we were putting in the names this time, usually I'm in a big rush, and I'm like, like we're trying to get the names in and stuff, but this time I actually spent a little bit more time as I was kind of copy pasting from Sarah's list and the other things, and just kind of looking, now that I know more people at St. Jude's, it's really neat to see all these names, and just like, for me, just being like the impact that especially many of the moms who have gone to heaven, like the impact that they have had on the church, and on this community and on me, and it's fantastic. So there's like, what's so neat is as you read some of these names, like just knowing, having learned a little bit and hearing some of the stories that are attached to them, or meeting their kids, or their grandkids, it's really cool to be like, wow, this is like a powerhouse group of ladies. So, moms, thank you for all you do. So I guess just shout out to my mom in Minnesota. She's out there. So.
And my mom, who actually loves flowers and was digging in my yard this past weekend of flowers.
Gotta do the yard work.
Well, I'm not. I asked my son to build me Lego flowers because I have a tendency to not keep flowers alive. Well, so they decorate the office because that's where I am most of the time.
When Carl's not destroying them.
But yeah, so my son loves Legos. I like flowers. We came together in agreement and put together something to beautify the office some more.
That'll be great. That's awesome. All right. Well, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Again, you can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Also, one last thing. We know that the audio is struggling with the live stream. So thank you all for those of you who have reached out saying, hey, we can't hear. I'm not sure when we'll have that fixed. If the live stream isn't up, that's why, because we're still working on that. But we will have that up and running as soon as we possibly can.
For sure.
Know of our prayers for you. And please
praying for us.
Absolutely.
Oh, hey, you know what? Oh, Diana. We didn't talk about her.
Diana
has done such an amazing job with the
gosh.
flowers on the altar and getting rid of some of the dead ones.
And yesterday
it's
she was cleaning.
Awesome.
Just cleaning.
She was.
And not only that, but Diana actually went outside in the courtyard, and she just, as she does, she saw a need and she filled it. There was weeds that she was pulling. Which is not in her job description.
Right.
So thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
You are the pillar and the cornerstone. We appreciate you.
Yes.
So, all right. God bless.
Have a great week. Bye.
Peace.